Hey, this is John, and you're watching Dragons and Flagons. In this video, I'm going to give you a detailed breakdown of the first adventure in the new anthology book, Keys from the Golden Vault, the Murkmire Malevolence. I'll cover the plot, the NPCs, magic items, monsters, and any other details that you need to run this adventure smoothly. I'm going to be digging deep in this adventure, so this is your spoiler warning. If you have any interest in playing this adventure in the future or think it's going to negatively impact your gameplay in any way, back out now and go take a look at one of my other videos or come back to this one after you've played the game. The Murkmire Malevolence is a first-level museum heist adventure where players are sent to infiltrate a museum, steal the Murkmire stone, and deliver it to a disgraced academic so it can be neutralized before it hatches into an eldritch horror. I'll bet you're already on the edge of your seat wondering how this museum heist adventure will unfold, but before we begin, this is your final spoiler warning. Here's a little background information. Dr. Cassie Dannell was a faculty member and field scientist at Varken Bluff University. During her last expedition, the archaeological team found what appeared to be a strange green gemstone-like object. Dr. Dannell wasn't convinced that this was just a stone and began to research it just a bit more. But the Varken Bluff Museum of Natural History took the stone so it could be displayed to the public. The more Dr. Dannell researched, the more she was convinced that the stone wasn't what everyone thought it was, and that it could actually be something that's pretty dangerous. In time, Dr. Dannell found that the Murkmire stone wasn't a stone at all, but actually an egg of an ancient creature that's been laying dormant for generations. Now that the egg has been unearthed, the creature is rapidly developing and could hatch in a matter of days. She informed the museum of her findings, but they didn't believe her. She attempted to break into the museum after hours to steal it, but she was caught. And now she's been removed from her position, and that's really where our story begins. It starts with some character hooks. The adventure provides a few character hooks to help tie the players to the adventure itself, such as incorporating the Dannell family into the character's background or allowing the characters to be Dr. Dannell fans as well as museum enthusiasts, or even having Dr. Dannell be one of the players' former teachers when they attended the university. Each adventure in this anthology provides a Golden Vault hook, where the Golden Vault becomes the patron of the party. And it serves up a heist opportunity, Mission Impossible style. The Golden Vault is a secret organization that rights moral wrongs and supports virtuous underdogs and handles delicate situations local authorities won't touch. And their mission is often illegal, but always supports a just and moral cause. If you go with the Golden Vault hook, a golden key will be delivered to the characters in whatever manner you deem fit, and the characters will use this key to open the music box. The lid pops open, a soothing voice will explain the mission to the party, and tell them ultimately to go visit Dr. Dannell. In the end, no matter what background or hook you use, the players must meet Dr. Dannell. This gives her a chance to answer any questions that the party may have, as well as explain the plan that she's already begun developing. Dr. Dannell explains that the Murkmire stone is going on public display tomorrow, but there will be a private gala celebrating the exhibit tonight. She has secured tickets for each member of the party, formal wear, and a bag of holding so that the players can scope out the museum before the heist actually begins. She also provided a homemade map of the museum and some information around the staff and guards. In the end, if the Murkmire stone is successfully stolen from the museum and delivered to Dr. Dannell before it hatches at midnight, the party will earn 30 gold pieces per character and can keep a bag of holding. It's not too bad. Now it's up to the characters to develop a plan. This adventure provides quite a few different NPCs the players can interact with. There's an entire D12 table of museum guards, as well as various gala attendees with gossip that can be shared with the players. One notable NPC that should be called out here is Alda Arkin. I think I'm saying that correct. The museum curator. Alda is carrying a clutch during the gala, which contains a map of the museum guards' after-hour stations, as well as the master key to the museum's locked doors, and a pass card that allows Alda to bypass all the museum alarms. One question I do hear a lot when it comes to pre-written adventures is, are there any new monsters or magic items? And really, with this adventure, the short answer is no, not really. While the story is about a potential monster hatching, There really isn't anything new from a monster perspective. The primary encounter that you'll have throughout the entire story will be security guards and or animated armor. In Alda's office, you'll encounter a deadly doll, which is just a flavorful way of adding a scarecrow to this adventure. Possibly the most entertaining monster would be the animatronic Allosaurus. With any museum, there's always a giant dinosaur on display, whether it's bones or not or whatever, and this story is no different. The Allosaurus happens to be an animatronic construct, and with just a little bit of tinkering, if your players notice it, they can basically set this thing loose, and as it rampages around for about 10 minutes, it causes a distraction. There's not a lot of magic items either, really nothing new. I had to keep in mind that this is a first level adventure and I'm not really expecting too much from a magic item perspective. I'm not walking out with, mithril armor or anything. The party will get a bag of holding, which is pretty nice. And they get the bag of holding just for being in the adventure. While sneaking around the museum, they can also find a +1 dagger and a +1 hand axe. The funness factor of this, but is the Murkmire Malevolence fun? Yes, I think it is very fun. If you have the right party, players that are not into killing things and just straightforward battles, but people that want to experience the game, do a lot of role play, a lot of investigation, a lot of skill checks, problem solving, this game is for those type of players. To me, personally, you may not have any battles at all in this. You could skill check yourself around guards and through holes, and really, there may not be a single fight in this whole adventure. So if your party is not into role play or skill checks or plan making, and they really just want to fight something, maybe skip this one for another one. But one of the coolest things about this adventure is you can fail. And yes, I know you can fail at any role-playing game, Dungeons and Dragons, whatever. But this adventure specifically, and this book specifically, has mission successful, but also mission unsuccessful. And it provides you a few different options of what you can do and where the story can go if the egg hatches, if you didn't succeed in this. The failure missions are kind of interesting. Obviously the egg will hatch, but now you've got an eldritch horror running around the museum. You're getting into new monsters and things like that. It's not really part of this adventure, but it gives some ideas and things along those lines. Eventually, the monster will grow up and give you a juvenile eldritch horror, which is a CR 11 stat block. So it could be fun there if maybe you intentionally let it fail. Okay, so it's a high-level overview of the story and some of what comes after. But how difficult will this be to run? The story itself doesn't seem too difficult. I haven't personally run it yet, but I've read it a couple times, obviously, to make this video. You'll have a lore dump at the beginning, so you'll have to kind of know some of that information, be able to role play Dr. Daniel, and be able to answer those questions. But your book is right there. There's not a lot of effort to really need to know everything about the rooms in the museum because it's all labeled really nicely. The alarm spells and traps and things along those lines. Pretty straightforward. Everything's clearly labeled. Once the players get a hold of the stone, the book provides a Murkmire stone effects table. So every 10 minutes, starting at 10:30, the stone begins to pulse with some energy, and some effects will happen. Anybody that's 20 feet from the egg, they'll need to make wisdom saving throws, and if you're holding it, you get disadvantage. And then there's a nice little table. Some are positive effects, some are negative effects. You could have things like, I get +2 with my armor, or increased walking speed, or I can't maintain concentration on spells, or I have disadvantage on saving throws and checks. The disadvantage, those negative effects, the disadvantage on checks and things along those lines, could be really difficult if you're trying to stealthily escape the museum with the egg in hand. All in all, I do think this is a pretty solid adventure and a lot of fun if you have the right party. I don't think it would be too difficult to modify for higher level if your party is higher level and you don't want to start over. But you could also maybe look at it from another angle. What if your higher level adventurers are at the gala and you have the NPCs be the characters that are pulling off the heist? and your party, your high-level party, could try to stop them. But then you have the monster, and now you get to fight something. Well, that about wraps it up. Let me know in the comments what you think. Am I missing something? Is this what you're looking for? Is there something more you're wanting out of these type of videos? I'm new to this, and I'm really interested in what your opinions are. So it does motivate me if you like and subscribe and comment. Whether you like it or don't, it still motivates me to produce more of this type of content. So, and until next time, thanks for watching and happy adventure.